Hello there, everyone. Hello to all of our Ladybridge learners, possibly some parents too, that are watching this assembly today. I really hope that you're well and coping as best you can during these really difficult times. So I really hope you're keeping well, looking after yourselves and getting on okay. Now, it feels as if, since I've done this job, each time I've done an assembly, it feels as if I've used this slide. And apologies to our learners who might be thinking, sir, every single time there's been an assembly, I've seen this slide. But it's because most of the assemblies I've done, there's been some form of a new beginning, a new dawn, a new day. And that most definitely applies, of course, right now, because it's the beginning of a new year, 2021. And unfortunately, it's the beginning of a new national lockdown. But I do think it's different the first time around, in that I think there is more light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that we are all better prepared for this. But that doesn't take away from how challenging things are currently for many of our families. Now, let's have a think about what we're going to do in today's assembly. Firstly, we're going to think about the importance of gratitude. Secondly, we're going to look at remote learning, unsurprisingly, and about how we can make the most of remote learning. Number 3, A is for, I bet you can work out what the A is. And I'm going to mention Proud Thursday, and then I've got some specific messages for each year group as well. Now, I've done a practice run through of this accidentally. But yeah, it was 30 minutes, but I'm aiming to be more concise than that, shorter than that. I'll put a timer on, see how I get on. Right, we sent it out at the end of last term. I'm not going to play it now, but you can go onto our YouTube site to find it. We sent out a message of gratitude to all of our parents, our learners, our governors, our staff, to show appreciation and gratitude for last term. What an unbelievable term, just an incredible term. And the way in which we pulled together all those different groups of people, I think was remarkable. So yeah, if you've not seen it, check it out. But the act of saying thank you and expressing gratitude is a very happy and healthy thing for us to do. And I think for all of us in our lives, finding those opportunities to show appreciation to people who have done something for us is a really good thing. And it's part of us looking to the good, looking to the positives, being optimistic and seeing the good that is in our lives. And one really positive thing that we can do is each day take a moment to have a think about, well, what are we grateful for that day? What has gone well that day and what are we grateful for that day? And just thinking of 3 things each day can make a massive difference, even during these really tough times. I know it's challenging, but even during these really tough times, there will be things that we're grateful for, things that are good in our lives or things that have gone well on that day. And certainly I thought that you did well, and I want to express that gratitude to you last term with coping and adapting with all the change that we chucked at you, the lanyards, the masks, the different routes through school. There was so much for you to adapt to, and you did a remarkable job at that. And I felt we really worked as part of a team, as I said before. And teamwork is, of course, one of our qualities as part of the Ladybridge way, one of the qualities that we really value around here. And so is commitment. Commitment is unbelievably important. And really what is going to determine how well the next few weeks go for you is how committed you are to that remote learning, to the remote learning provision that you've got. So commitment is about working hard to achieve your goals. We often say in assemblies, but it's so important. It makes a massive difference when you have clear goals, things that you want to achieve. They might be big goals about things you want to achieve in your life. They might just be things you want to achieve that day. But having clear goals helps us to be motivated to show that commitment to work hard and to take personal responsibility for our learning and for ourselves. So the word commitment's really important. all the time, but most definitely right now. And it will determine, your level of commitment will determine how much you make out of the remote learning offer that we've got. Now, the remote learning offer from next week is going to be absolute quality. This week's been a bit different. I won't go into the details for that, but the government obviously initially announced it was just year 11 that we're going to get the full remote learning offer. So we were trying to slot in with that, and we didn't want to deviate from that if the message to families was that there was an extension to the holiday. But anyway, I know that the vast majority of you have worked hard this week, and I know that next week you're going to be working even harder because we've got our full live remote learning offer starting. And every day is going to be like Tuesday. In that, every day is going to be a bit shorter. So we're going to stick to the Tuesday timings. Now, there are 3 reasons for this. Reason number 1, I think to certainly for our older learners who have a start time for a non-Tuesday of 4:10, I think that's too late. I think that's too much time staring at a screen all day. So I think for our mental health, for our physical health, having a slightly shorter day for the main screen time, I think is a good thing. Second reason is that in addition to doing the tasks that are set during the live lessons and during other periods of the day, because not every minute of every day will be live, because we've got a sort of blended approach, which we really strongly feel is best practice. But lots and lots will be live. Lots and lots of work will be done during the day, but you'll also need some time to crack on and do some stuff independently, to catch up and to finish off and to further extend your work. And I'll be talking a bit about that, about the importance of doing that later on in the assembly. So by shortening the day to finish at 3 o'clock for our older learners, 2:20 for our younger learners, that will give you more time to do stuff totally independently. Third reason is that teachers are going to be tracking very closely whether you're attending all of the live lessons and whether you're getting your work done. And they need time at the end of the day to check what work you've done and to record that onto spreadsheets that we then send, or we send the detail from the spreadsheets home to your parents and carers so they know whether you're getting on with what you need to be getting on with. So that's why we're having a shortened day. So every day is a Tuesday. Now, I'm not going to go through the detail of this, but Mr. Isles is putting together for you a remote learning guide, which is for learners, but it's for parents too. And there'll be a video again to go with that. And Sir will talk through all this stuff. But essentially, I think, in fact, I'm going to keep it really brief. And I'm just going to say, if you stick to our Ladybridge high standards, which I know you will, then we don't have any issue whatsoever. So obviously we take it in turns to speak. That's our teacher time. We've got one voice when we're working all together as one group. It's teacher time and it's one voice. And when we're getting on with stuff independently, it's task time and the silent focus. But to be honest with you, we've not really had hardly any issues at all with our learners' conduct during those live sessions that we've had over the course of the year. So I have no concerns about that, but Mr. Isles will be crystal clear about what our expectations are in the guide that Sir has put together, which we'll send to you in the next day or two. If you're not able to attend a lesson, email your teacher, explain the reason for it and find out about what you need to do. And of course, complete everything that you need to do and submit it through Teams. So yeah, you will get a splendid guide, which will take you through everything, take you through how to use Teams. We've got all sorts of stuff about how to use Teams as well on our YouTube channel as well. You probably guessed that the A I was referring to is agency. And I've said on probably the last 2 assemblies, and I'm going to say it again, the agency is about taking action independently without waiting to be told by others. So you could define it as to act or take charge before others do. So it's similar to the word initiative. So it's about being able to do things for ourselves. And it's so important. It makes us independent. It increases what we can learn. It helps us to lead and help others. And it makes us happier too, because if you know you can change things for yourselves and for others, it makes us happier to feel that we have that sense of agency. So it's a bit like the opposite of feeling helpless. Now, we're doing a tremendous amount at the moment to make sure that all of our learners, let me just link back to remote learning, that all of our learners have got the devices and the Wi-Fi that they need to engage in this brilliant remote learning offer that we've got. If you need support with any aspect of that, show the agency of sending Mr. Isles an email to flag that up, and we will support you. We probably already know, in that we've been working tremendously hard to make sure everyone's got what they need to engage in the remote learning. And one of the things we discovered yesterday, some of our staff showed agency and discovered that you can access Microsoft Teams and Office 365 using a PlayStation and using an Xbox. And part of Sir's guide that he's putting together will be some instructions on how you can do that. And one of the things that we're now going to be doing is to provide keyboards and mice, computer mice, obviously, for learners and their families, so that you can do that. Because the device on its own, you can actually use it just with your Xbox controller, but it takes ages. So really you need a keyboard and a mouse. So we're going to help people out with that as well. There's a little link as well that you can see there, that if you're looking at the slides version of this, sorry, if you've got access to the slides version of this, which I will email to all of our learners, you can click on a video there that takes you through how to do it. So A is for agency, but A is also for attitude. And A is also for our top grade for attitude to learning. And for some time now, before I came to school, we've had like an A to D scale for attitude to learning. And one of the things I did over the recent break, this is the kind of sad life that I have, was I rewrote the descriptors for our reports. And I thought it was worth referring to this because I want all of you to aim for A. I want you to all aim for the top bit here, which means going above and beyond, having a brilliant work ethic, that desire to learn, showing that independence and agency, which fits in with the description as well for behavior, being a role model in the level of agency and independence that you've got, to the point that you can support others with their learning. And we've got so many of you that do that. So many of our learners do that. And then for a new category that we've got, which is independent learning at home, which is obviously what we're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. That's about you not just doing what's set by the teacher, but about completing elective independent home study. So here's an example of the sorts of things that you can do. Well, we're also producing a remote learning guide for our teachers too. In fact, we've sent it out today. And on there, what we're suggesting to our teachers is that they have clear extension A tasks, which are the tasks that you can do to show that you're doing something extra, going above and beyond. So these are not compulsory. These are there for people for our learners, for you to do, should you want to really stretch yourself and be at this top A bracket here. And the second thing that you can do, and this is so important, I'm going to go into a bit more detail about this in a moment, is to review your learning. And do that on a daily basis is so powerful. If not on a daily basis, then at least a weekly basis. Not just looking back over your work, but testing yourself on your work. And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a sec. Third thing is to do essentially what we did for Project C, which is to follow your interests and your curiosities, which might be to do with the subjects that you're doing in school, or they might be to do with something else. So going above and beyond and really exploring, and that word, that quality, curiosity, is of course another one of our Ladybridge qualities as part of the Ladybridge way. But that is so important, as just being curious and want to find stuff out. And you've got this through, having the devices and the technology and the Wi-Fi, as we're saying, that we're supporting with, and that we're going to make sure everyone's got at home. You've got everything you need there to allow your curiosity to really be ignited. Now, as part of the second bit there, review your learning. What I'm talking about there is something that we call retrieval practice, where, as I mentioned before, we're not just rereading things, but we're practicing getting things out of our brain. So it's testing ourselves without the use of our notes. So it could be as simple as you've got your keywords from that topic for whatever subject for that week. So testing yourself to see if you can come up with definitions for those words without having to look at your notes. So do you really understand those words? And that practice of getting things out of your brain, bringing it from your long-term memory to your working memory, that practice of doing that strengthens connections, make sure that that learning is stored more securely. It's strengthening the connections there. And it actually makes future learning easier. I've talked to you a lot before about the importance and the power of knowledge, which is obviously part of our Ladybridge Trivium, links to Ladybridge Way. That the more we know, the easier it is to find out more. So the more secure, the more hardwired you make that knowledge through that retrieval practice, it makes it easier for you to find out more, because of course learning involves connecting what we know already with the new information. So there's more branches to connect to. It makes us more intelligent. That testing yourself, that retrieval practice effectively, is helping to make yourself more intelligent. Our intelligence is changeable, it's not fixed. I'm going to stop there because I did say I'd be concise. I'm going to stop there about that part. 14 minutes so far, I'm doing well. Proud Thursday. You can nominate yourself for Proud Thursday as well as your teachers nominating you. You can nominate yourself through sending work to Ms. Zamet at the email address, which is there. Now, I was going to click into that, but I'm trying to be concise. But again, if you've got the slides, you can click in there and see an example of the sort of work and the certificates that we send out for Proud Thursday. So you don't need to wait for your teacher to nominate you for Proud Thursday. You can do that for yourself. And certainly if you're doing these three things, why not get that further recognition for that through Proud Thursday? In particular, if you're doing number 3, if you've decided you're going to find out about something else because you're interested and curious about it, why not share that and let Ms. Zamet know, and we can get that celebrated as part of Proud Thursday and get it on the website, potentially, if you want us to, if you're up for that. All right, to finish then, I've got some messages for each year group, in particular for year 11, but there's a little bit of something for everyone. First thing for everyone is to follow the advice in the assembly. You follow this advice, you're going to go far in life. I can guarantee it. You're going to get brilliant grades, brilliant qualifications, but you're going to be set up with the qualities that you need to really thrive in life. I passionately believe that. Year 7 and 8 have had a really tough time this year. They've had more periods of self-isolation than any other year group. But just remember, things will settle. Both year groups have done an incredible job in really difficult circumstances. And please just remember that things will settle down. And if you follow this advice in the assembly and keep on top of your remote learning, honestly, that transition back into school is going to be really smooth. Year 9, bear in mind, I mean, same thing applies what I just said to year 7, 8, but bear in mind that through you starting your GCSE courses in year 9 instead of year 10, it does give you more time. So I think that's a really good, positive thing. It's giving you more time. So we're making sure we're building up the foundation of knowledge. It's like I was talking about, the knowledge that you need that then enables you, as you move into year 10, to really build upon that knowledge and do incredibly well in those courses. But you've got time on your side, so don't worry, you have time on your side. Year 10, I think there's a very high chance, more likely than not, that you won't be disrupted next summer, in summer 2022. That sounds a long time away, but it's only a year, just over a year from now. I hope and I don't expect that you will not suffer the same disruption as the current year 11 and the previous year 11. Be aware as well, and I know you know this, but just to repeat, for the learners doing sports studies, the sports studies exam on Monday is going ahead in a very COVID secure way, 2 meters apart, lots of extra COVID measures in place. I know how really well prepared you are for that. And to postpone that would have really disrupted things for you next year. So I think we're right to go ahead on that. So yeah, that's the plan. Year 11. It was announced just yesterday that your grades will be down to teacher assessment. But there will be some external moderation, some external checks, which I think is absolutely right for these centre assessed grades. But I really think that you are in a good position, certainly in a much better position than last year's year 11, who in March were told school was closed and were then told there was no exams. And there was nothing they could do to determine what exams they got after that point. It was taken out of their hands. That's not the case with all of you in year 11 now. It's in your hands. If you do everything I've said in this assembly, you're going to do wonderfully well. Attend all those lessons, complete all those tasks, do the additional study that I've talked about, in particular the retrieval practice and different ways to extend your learning. You do that, you're going to get a really high grade. It is as simple as that. And you've got a lot of certainty. I always used to say at my previous school when I introduced BTEC courses, one of the great things about BTEC courses, because so much was centre assessed and you knew where you stood with it, it was, you had more control, you had more certainty. Well, that applies now for every single course, for all of our year 11 learners. So that's a really positive thing. So graft, work hard, show that commitment that I talked about before, do everything I've said in this assembly, and you're going to get really high grades. Obviously, of course, we'll do a really proper professional job at generating those grades. It's not a case of be nice to your teacher and we'll give you really high grades, but it's about you focus on your learning and you're going to do well. That's the way it always works, exams or no exams. And finally, the year 11 forms remain the same. We're not changing them. So we were going to change them now to put you into revision groups, different revision groups. I think it's better to keep as much consistency as we can. So you'll stay in the same groups that you were in previously, and make sure you apply for college. Email Mrs. Doxy at the email address there if you need a careers appointment. That links to what I said before about goals. Have that clear goal in mind. What do you want to study? What do you want to do? And through getting on with your college work, should you need it, it gives you that extra motivation and impetus with your remote learning that you're doing. So let me finish by stressing again the importance of teamwork. We're all in this together. It's a challenging time, but we can do this. We're in a much stronger place in terms of remote learning and support for families and everything else. We're in such a stronger place than we were the first time that we experienced these challenges. Take care, everyone. Keep in touch. You've got all the different ways you can keep in touch through Teams, through email. Keep in touch. Take care. Work hard. I'll see you soon.